Well, hello there, folks. How's it going today? Hope you guys are all doing really good today. We got a little project here on the bench that I've been kind of tinkering on behind the scenes, and I thought I'd just kind of show you guys what I was up to. So, this neck come in. It was basically donated. It was broke. The headstock was snapped off it. It used to have an acrylic headstock. As you can see, they had grafted in to the wood here on the neck. So what I've done is traced out a headstock, basically similar to this design, okay? It's rough. It still needs to be finished and kind of fit to the neck here. So what I've done basically is this. I wanted to make a scarf joint, so I just took the this headstock that I made from mahogany, and I just tacked it on here with super glue, and I carved out a channel for the truss rod, and got the headstock angled pretty much like I wanted it. So it does have a little bit of angle, and it will give us some nice break over the neck. Now, this is the first time I've ever done this little style of project here. I just really wanted to experiment more than anything and see if I could make this work and hold. I'm not out anything if it doesn't, and it's a good learning experience, like I said. So after I tacked it on to the neck with crazy glue, got the angle right, I marked out a little bit, pretty much half and half on each side of the break. And I took a router here, a little palm router, and this is the style bit that I was using right here, okay? And what I did, I didn't use any guide or anything like that. I just basically set this on here and went in between the lines and tried to keep the router nice and flat. So after it was done, I took a file and made sure this was flat, so that way when we glue a piece in here, it's going to sit flat across the face of both pieces. Okay, so I thought about doing 2 splines. I've seen that done numerous times, which seems to work quite well. In this case, I decided to go with a full spline across both pieces, and we'll work that down and blend everything back into the neck here once we get it glued on. I'm going to probably achieve that with a 4-inch grinder and a sanding wheel on the grinder just to get it roughed in and get some of the heavy work done, and then I'll probably end up taking some carving tools and finish it with carving tools and sanding and a few different methods to get it the rest of the way. So again, we got a nice tight fit here. You can see the piece stays right in there. You got a little bit of daylight under there, right? Well, it's hard to see it now, but we just caught it for a second. With a clamp, that's going to close that up, hopefully some. I can't quite do it with my fingers, so in any case, that'll be fine. And even if there is a slight gap there, I don't think we're going to really notice it much. I mean, it's not like we're trying to hide anything here. I mean, if you are, then this is probably the wrong video to be watching, because, you know, at the end of the day, you're going to know this was repaired. It's not about the look. It's more about just the structural integrity of the headstock and the piece that we're putting on here. It's not a really thick piece that we're applying here, but this stuff's really rigid, and we're aligning the grain in the right way with the headstock. And again, this is more of an experiment than it is anything, and I'm just trying to see if I could actually repair the worst case scenario that you'd run into on a broken headstock. So the plan is, I gotta get this piece out of here. It fits in there really tight, and it is actually undercut a little bit here for strength purposes. So it does cut back at an angle a little bit, and then this end is square, okay? And that helps it fit tight, and it's also going to help with some holding power, in my opinion, and that's kind of my, rhyme to reason here. So hopefully this will work out. I know it's a long ways from being finished, and it looks like you-know-what right now, basically, but it is what it is. And I think at the end of the day, this will be a stronger overlay than just adding 2 splines. My theory on that is this. If you're going to add a spline on each side of the truss rod, you're going to address 2 little joints, okay? A break like this, I'm going to go with a whole overlay pad across the joint. Again, no matter what, you're going to see the dirty work, so to speak, when it's done. So I'd rather have it hold and serve its purpose than just trying to go for, looks. Splines don't look good anyway, so I don't think we're going to miss the mark by much here. So again, we're just basically waiting for our fish glue to warm up a little bit. And once that's done, we're going to get this glued in and clamped in and let it dry. Probably let it dry overnight, I'm thinking, and then we will start working on, shaping this and blending everything back into the neck. It's not going to be easy by any means, but I do think it can be done. Like I said, it's going to be tedious and kind of painstaking to actually get this to fit right, but at the end of the day, I think it'll work just well. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with it in that direction. It seems to fit better just the way I have it orientated right now, so I'm going to mark that as top and bottom so I know. Now when I glue that in, I won't have to guess. I don't like doing stuff 2 or 3 times. So here we go. We're going to check on our fish glue here and see if it's getting any warmer, I should say. No, not yet. So we got to let that warm up. And while we're doing that, I'm going to get the clamps out, get everything ready. So when we do get the glue applied on here, we won't have to mess around. The other thing I am going to address, not address, hopefully, is this. There is a gap in between here, okay? Because there was kind of a different sort of break where the truss rod was. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply our fish glue, and as soon as we get the piece in there, I'm going to flip the neck over when I clamp it. And that way I don't have glue running down into the truss rod. We don't want to glue the truss rod in there solid, so that's the plan. Okay, I'm going to dig out some clamps and get ready, guys. Okay, so this is the breakdown here on the clamp setup. I've got just a piece of mahogany that was left over, an offcut, what have you. And we want to get the clamp kind of centered right over the nut here. But I don't want to clamp and try to squeeze against the nut because it'll end up breaking. So we have another piece of mahogany here that's cut on an angle. I'm going to use that as a wedge. I'm going to take a piece of cork here. This is just a drink coaster. I buy them on eBay, pretty reasonable. And they work good for stuff like this. So that will level it out. And when we put the piece in, we'll be able to take a C-clamp, hopefully. I'm going to get this opened up, too, and get ready. So there's no surprises when we get ready to do this. That should be pretty close. And again, I have some more cork padding here to put under the clamp. and on the piece, which really doesn't matter. I mean, we're going to end up milling most of this away before it's over, so it's just good practice. It helps from keeping things from getting marred up and scarred from the clamps. Okay, so we got to let the fish glue warm up a little bit more. She's getting close, and then we'll glue her in and clamp everything up. Okay, guys, so we got a little fish glue out here. I just pulled a little out of the bottle. I'm just going to put a little on the back side of this piece, and we already have some on the guitar neck, and the glue is a little chilly, so it's a little thick. I keep it in the refrigerator so it'll last a lot longer. So it just takes a minute. Once it gets warmed up, it'll thin out a little bit, and it also becomes very sticky quick. So it's good practice to get all your stuff lined up and ready to go before you glue anything. Then it's not so nerve-wracking. Okay, so we've got both pieces with glue applied to them now. So, and I've marked the orientation of the piece itself, and that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's get a clamp on there. I'm going to put a small piece of cork on the top of this and try to pick everything up and keep it intact as I do it. Easier said than done, but I think we're on our way. Okay, so now what I want to do is kind of tip this up work-wise so I can see what's going on here. And I'm just going to keep tightening this up. I'm going to hold it up to the light too. I just want to see if there's any daylight under there. Everything looks good right now, so we're getting some good squeeze out around the glue, around the piece that we put in. That's a really good sign, and I just want to check and make sure we have squeeze out on this side as well. And I just want to tighten that clamp up as much as I can. That looks pretty good right there. I got some squeeze out up here, not a ton, but there is some. So I may apply, actually I'm not going to bother with it. I have plenty of squeeze out down in the trench down here. And actually most of this is going to get milled away anyway. And if there are any gaps or cracks, I'll probably just drop fill them with super glue after we get everything all milled down to the shape that it's going to remain in. And like I said, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape as long as this holds. I don't see no problems, honestly. Everything looks pretty good. And there is a little bit of a crack here, which, I mean, it's expected. Again, like I said, I will drop fill this with super glue if there's an open crack. Basically what we're shooting for here is just to get the two surfaces adhered together here, you know, the biggest section of them. And like I said, once this dries, we'll take a look at it and see what we need to do from there. All right, guys, well, I'll keep you posted on the progress and show you how I'm going to go about, you know, reshaping this after it dries and we remove all the clamps. Kind of a fun little project, like I said. It's an experiment more than it is anything for me here. You know, I do realize there's probably a ton of different ways you could do this and probably a lot better, but again, this is just an experiment. I wanted to see if I could fix a headstock that had a pretty much clean break right off the end of the neck behind the nut. And I'm hoping that this is going to actually work. I think it's going to, honestly. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. And you know what? If it works, it works. It's just what it is. And you don't know unless you try this stuff. And if it doesn't work, then I'm definitely going to pass that information along to you folks too. I don't want to shortchange anybody, and this is kind of why I'm doing the experiment. So either way, if it works, great. And if it doesn't work, it's also valuable information, in my opinion. Hopefully it'll help you guys out if you're ever attempting to do this kind of thing. So, well, thanks for sticking with me, folks. I'll keep you posted on the progress, and we'll see what happens. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you real soon. Okie doke. Okay, guys, so we got the clamps off, and this is dried for a little over 24 hours, and everything looked really good. I took a 4-inch grinder with a sanding wheel in it here, and used that just to take off some of the heavy stuff and to try to get this in a rough form so I could actually just start working on the finish. It took a little time, but I took my time. So, you kind of have to doing this kind of stuff. It's nothing you can rush or hurry. So anyway, there's the patch that we inlaid. And as you can see, there is a little lip that sticks up right here where this piece that we added was a little higher. And I think I'm going to probably leave it. I thought about trying to blend it in, but it really doesn't bother me. It's not going to affect where your hand is when you're playing or anything like that. I do need to smooth this transition up a little bit more. Again, this is like, still in the rough stages, but I have worked it down to the point where I can start just seeing the finish line and working on getting this shaped in and everything blended in well. Now, I will have to probably drop fill a few cracks with super glue. Nothing too major though. Everything really fit nice and tight, and the seam of the patch that we put in looks really good and tight, and it seems to be glued quite well. So all in all, I think that part of it was a success. Again, this was just an experiment, like I said, to try to see if I could repair the worst case scenario headstock break that you could probably run into. Again, this was broke right off clean, so I think we're going to be in good shape. And I'm not going to try to hide this. I'm going to leave the acrylic and the overlay reinforcement patch that we installed. And I'm not embarrassed to show my work, I guess. It's not going to be anything I would ever try to hide or try to pass off as not being repaired. Now, I did get into the acrylic a little bit with my sandpaper, but I did find that if I took an X-Acto blade, I can scrape that and make it pretty much shiny smooth again. So we're going to address that as well, and that's what I've been doing here the last few minutes, was just doing some carving and some scraping on this, trying to shape it a little closer to a finished product, but we still have a ways to go. The next thing I am going to do, I probably will shoot a part 2 on this, and I'm going to strip the finish off the actual back of the neck. It has some nasty, like, I don't know what it is, glue or something stuck on there. So I want to get that off. And once that's done and everything's blended it together here right and sanded well, I'm going to reseal the whole neck, and I'll do a video on that as well. Also, in part 2, I'll show you guys how to align your tuning peg locations for your string pull, and try to get the optimum for the shape of the headstock. So that'll be in part 2, like I said. I'm going to clean the fretboard up. It's pretty dirty, and the frets look okay. We'll probably clean them up and make sure they're okay. And like I said, that'll be in part 2. The last video will be when I install this on a guitar body and actually give it a try. So again, this is just an experiment, and hopefully some of this information will help you guys, and hopefully this works out well. If it does, then it's gonna demystify a lot of questions, I guess, on repairing headstocks. So I guess that'll wrap this one up, and thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope this information is helpful to you, and hopefully you guys can, tackle something like this on your own someday. Hopefully you don't have to do this, but if you do, at least it's, some idea of what could happen, or a different way that you could do it without just adding 2 splines. I think this is going to hold a lot better. Again, would you do this on a Les Paul? Well, it's no good if the headstock's broke, and if you're going to see splines or whatever, yeah, I probably would. So we'll see. If it holds, great. If it doesn't hold, I will also shoot a video on it to at least pass that information along to you guys, because I don't want you to waste your time if this doesn't hold. So bear with me. It's going to take me a little bit to get this finished, and I need to find a body to bolt the neck to. So it may be a few weeks before that happens, but I want to at least pass this information along and see what you guys thought about it. Leave it in the comments, good or bad. I'm a big boy. I can take it. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you real soon. Be good. Okie doke.